For millennia, humanity has charted the stars, split the atom, and mapped the very blueprint of life, believing ourselves masters of our domain. We construct empires of steel and silicon, forging systems of governance and commerce designed to conquer every conceivable challenge. Yet, history, with its peculiar, often darkly ironic sense of humor, delights in reminding us of our exquisite vulnerabilities. Sometimes, the most profound lessons emerge not from clashes of titans or grand geopolitical maneuvers, but from the quiet, isolated corners of the world, where ancient traditions collide with ruthless biological realities. This is the story of Kuru, the laughing sickness, a disease that became one of the most unsettling and, frankly, embarrassing biological puzzles of the 20th century. A deadly neurological horror unleashed not by war or famine, but by a cultural practice rooted in love and respect. Deep within the rugged, mist-shrouded valleys of Papua New Guinea's eastern highlands lived the Fore people. Their world, largely untouched by Western civilization until the mid-20th century, was one of intimate connection to the land and to their ancestors. Here, the why behind Kuru wasn't a sudden economic collapse or a post-war societal upheaval. It was born from a profound, deeply ingrained cultural ritual, endocannibalism. When a loved one died, to honor their spirit and recycle their life force, the Fore would consume parts of the deceased. Specifically, the brains, believed to be the seat of intelligence and personality, were often consumed by women and children, a practice intended to keep the essence of the departed within the family circle. This wasn't an act of aggression or deprivation. It was a revered, sacred custom, unknowingly setting the stage for a biological catastrophe. Into this secluded world, by the 1950s, a terrifying mystery had taken root. The protagonists here were the Fore themselves, the unwitting vectors and victims, and the bewildered Western medical researchers who stumbled upon a disease unlike anything they had ever encountered. It began subtly, an unsteady gait, slurred speech, tremors. The Fore called it Kuru, meaning to tremble or to shiver. Dr. Daniel Carlton Gajdusek, an American medical researcher, arrived in 1957, drawn by reports of a baffling, fatal illness, predominantly affecting women and children. This was the inciting incident, the moment scientific inquiry was forced to confront an unknown enemy that defied the very principles of infectious disease transmission. The disease progressed with relentless, horrifying precision. Victims would develop severe ataxia, losing control over their movements, struggling to stand, walk, or even swallow. Their speech became incomprehensible, but the most grotesque and memorable symptom, the one that lent Kuru its chilling nickname, was the spontaneous pathological bursts of laughter, a macabre, inappropriate mirth that masked untold neurological devastation. This laughing sickness was no fit of joy, but a grim, involuntary manifestation of the brain slowly being devoured from within. The conflict was a silent, insidious war waged by an invisible enemy, a biological agent so alien it defied classification. Scientists initially suspected a slow virus, an infection with an extraordinarily long incubation period, but the pathology, spongiform degeneration of the brain tissue, was unprecedented. How could a disease be transmitted by simply eating a brain? The absurdity was chilling, a profound act of cultural reverence, twisted by biology into a death sentence, turning love into a vector of destruction. The outcome of this biomedical enigma was revolutionary, earning Gajdusek a Nobel Prize in 1976. The disease wasn't caused by a virus or bacteria, but by a completely new class of infectious agent, prions, misfolded proteins capable of inducing other normal proteins to misfold, creating a horrifying chain reaction that riddles the brain with holes, turning it into a sponge. The realization that a disease could be transmitted without genetic material, simply by a malformed protein, shattered decades of established biological dogma. Once the link between Kuru and endocannibalism was unequivocally established, the practice among the Fore was largely abandoned, leading to a dramatic decline in new cases, though the disease's decades-long incubation period meant that some individuals still tragically succumbed years later. Kuru stands as a stark testament to the unpredictability of nature and the profound, sometimes lethal, consequences of human cultural practices when they intersect with biological reality. Modern research continues to explore unique genetic resistances found within the Fore population, evolutionary echoes of a brutal past. It reminds us that our bodies, our very brains, can be turned against us by entities so tiny they barely qualify as life. And it offers a sobering reflection on human ambition. For all our technological might and scientific prowess, sometimes the most devastating challenges emerge from the simplest, most human of acts, when the intricate, terrifying biology of our own existence decides to laugh last, have the last, silent laugh, and perhaps, ironically, laugh